Fourth Estate really did a number on this country, churning out useful idiots with a steady stream of brainwashing, covering up the most heinous act of massive election fraud ever waged on the United States.
I've been thinking about how difficult this year has been for so many Americans, and it hasn't been felt evenly in this country. There are millions of Americans who were disproportionately hurt by this president's failure to deal with this coronavirus crisis. They were devastated economically. They were dying at disproportionate rates, getting disease and sickness at disproportionate rates. And I do think that they voted in their interest. They voted for their lives.
Bakari, as I was watching earlier, listening to the President of the United States talking about these cities that have big black populations, calling them fraudulent and the process fraudulent and that they're trying to steal it from them. I thought it was an insult to the people whose ancestors, even many of them, died for the right to vote. Just because they're showing up to the polls does not make it fraudulent. That was an insult to me.
I do think at the same time we should all recognize that there is election denialism going on. There are crazy conspiracy theories out there being read by millions of people. Tens of millions of people are seeing this stuff on Fox News about voter fraud. And it is real. And election denialism is real. And it has to be called out. Although I understand why the Biden campaign is trying to move past it.
You know, Joe Biden had it right. He said that he had the biggest voter fraud organization ever, and he didn't need people's votes now. He would need people later. They had this all planned, Maria. They had the algorithms. They had the paper ballots waiting to be inserted if and when needed. And notably, President Trump's vote in the blue states went up enormously. That's when they had to stop the vote count and go in and replace votes for Biden and take away Trump votes.
Regardless of the evidence, the sycophantic morons were overjoyed with stupidity to call the election for Joe Biden.
It's also just a lesson for people out there watching.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. If you believe in yourself, you can actually achieve what you want to achieve, despite all odds.
You're exactly.
It's an incredible moment. His path to victory has been long, arduous, and painful, and decades long, by the way.
I would like to note that if they are confused by the honking going on behind you, that is a mark of the new COVID era, where Joe Biden would have drive-in rallies, and instead of applauding and cheering, people would honk.
Right.
And they just can't contain themselves. On one hand, self-righteously condemning Trump for his tweets and bully pulpit.
Philadelphia, a city that Donald Trump has been attacking unfairly for a long time. He even got into a fight with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018 after the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
And on the other, bullying Trump and his supporters with insults and threats.
A concession is not necessary under the U.S. Constitution.
That's what I mean. It doesn't make it any less real.
It's not necessary. Whether or not Donald Trump acts like an adult, if Joe Biden becomes the next president, Joe Biden will become the next president, and Donald Trump will be, if it comes down to it, physically escorted from the building.
While Minority Senate Leader Chuck Schumer already had his claws out after the announcement to tear America to shreds.
Now we take Georgia, and then we change the world. Yeah! I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Mr. Schumer? Now we take Georgia, and then we change America.
Will these mindless sycophants still be gloating if the election is possibly turned over? And furthermore, if Joe Biden gets away with his deception, will they still support Joe Biden after he turns the country over to the globalist hellscape on the horizon? John Bound reporting.
Now it's easier than ever to have band.video on your iPhone. You simply go to band.video with your Safari browser. Then you click the share button at the bottom of the screen. When the menu comes up, you simply click Add to Home Screen. It will then ask you to name the app. I suggest band.video. You will now have band.video app on your home screen, despite the fact that Tim Cook tried to stop it. The globalists think you're lazy, but by taking a little bit of action, you can override them, have the app, and then tell others about it so they can get the app. So it's up to you whether you want to defy big tech and click the share buttons below on your email, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, however you want. Be sure and share band.video.
Cognitive dissonance is a major issue amongst the left. It can be very stressful dealing with facts you refuse to accept. If you have a family member suffering from this degenerative mental condition, buy them a bottle of Ultimate Fish Oil from InfoWarsStore.com. Studies have suggested that fish oils and fish oil supplementation can slightly lower blood pressure, decrease triglyceride levels, decrease the growth rate of plaque, and provide a soothing reduction in inflammatory responses in joints and the digestive system. Recent studies have suggested that high EPA and DHA fish oil can stimulate immune function by increasing the concentration and activity of immune cells. Get your Ultimate Fish Oil today.
There's a reason the globalists are fighting so hard to shut us down. They know the spirit of 1776, the spirit of the Renaissance, shines brightly from InfoWars. That spirit of fighting evil is growing stronger, not weaker under attack, because your will is strong. And make no mistake, this is a war of wills. InfoWars' main mission is to expose the globalist blueprint, rally humanity, and stop them dead in their tracks. As modern Paul reveres, it's critical for all Americans to do their part in the animating contest of liberty to expose darkness and promote freedom and a pro-human future everywhere we go. The quickening is here. We are now entering the crossroads, and InfoWars is rising to the challenge. InfoWars and our dedicated, committed crew is fighting harder than ever. We live in the most historical times ever seen in the history of our species. Everyone can see it, they can feel it, they can taste it. But now, it's all going to the next level. Evil is rising, and to challenge it, good is rising as well. The fact that you're awake, the fact that you're involved, the fact that you're engaged, even in the smallest way, is giant. It's massive. It's consciousness. Now, as the year 2020 dawns, we must redouble our efforts like never before in the fight to bring down the deep state and defeat the globalist anti-human system. But the only way our information gets out is when you spread it and when you support it by funding our operations, which are your operations, at InfoWarsStore.com.